Hello there, Penguins of Penguin Army. My name is Stuart and welcome back to the F1 Grand Prix Roundup. Well, we are technically doing the F1 Grand Prix Roundup. First and foremost, we're going to start off this episode with a quick message saying all of our hopes, thoughts, and prayers go out to Emilia-Romagna area in San Marino, Italy, as their flooding crisis led to the cancellation of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, so that's why we had a one-off a couple of weeks ago. But we send all of our thoughts and best wishes to that area, and that hopefully weren't too badly impacted. But yeah, so that meant there was no Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix last week, which meant there was no episode. So the Monaco Grand Prix was the next one, as it turns out. Freaking Chaos has just sent me a message if you just heard that. But yeah, to the Monaco Grand Prix. So, first and foremost, for Monaco, it was not too shabby. Unless your name was Checo Perez, then in which case it was a bit of a disaster for Checo. But we'll get into that. So, the Monaco Grand Prix, Mercedes brought some upgrades that were going to come last week, but have come this week. And, you know what, they did alright. But yeah, we'll talk about Checo straight away. Sergio Perez, what a disaster. Crashes out in qualifying, so he starts a measly P20, and it didn't get much better for him in the race. They pitted him after one lap to put him straight on to the hard tyre and try and go to the end. Obviously didn't think the rain was going to come, but it didn't help, and he ended up, I think, doing, I've got to hit 5 pit stops he ended up doing in that race. Finished 2 laps down to his teammate. A bit of a disaster for Checo. Yeah, so he pitted him lap 1 for hards, so trying to go to the end. Didn't expect the rain. To be honest, I don't think anyone expected the rain to come. But my boy, when it did come about lap 53, it fucking tanked. And we were so close. So close to a Fernando Alonso win. If Aston Martin didn't get their strategy wrong, didn't put Pox in for hard tyres or medium or soft, I can't remember the exact compound. The lap they did before he had to come back in on intermediates, he would have won the Grand Prix. Absolutely, he would have won. But talking about tyres, Max Verstappen, well done. Managed his medium tyres fantastically, so he could just go straight onto the wets. And Red Bull, credit to him, did the right thing. Said if this isn't drivable, make sure we pit for safety. But did the right thing. Tactics, they got it right with Max. To be fair, I think they got it right with Checo. It's just Checo was off it all weekend. He was pretty bad because he only finished 16th. Never really looked good. Anyway, but yeah, Max Verstappen nursed his tyres brilliantly. Esti Besti did a fantastic race in P3, qualified in P3, and then just stayed there. And that's a really good. Defended really well. Wasn't really put under too much pressure by Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, who got a 5-second penalty for twatting Perez, which didn't help Checo's cause, because he was absolutely twatted by George. I think 5 seconds, to be honest. For George, what he did, it was dangerous. I think I wouldn't have shook my head off at 10 seconds. Charles got a penalty for him qualifying for impeding Lando. It was an action-filled weekend of racing, I tell you that. But yeah, not the cleanest of races. There was a lot of contact, mostly by Lance Stroll and Kevin Magnussen. They were twatting everyone left, right, and centre. I think they were playing bumper cars there, but they got to lap 53 before retiring when he aquaplaned into a wall. The most impressive thing was no safety car, no VSC at Monaco. Impressive. But yeah, I was a little bit surprised we never got a VSC or a safety car. Yeah, I was surprised, but we didn't. Well, most of the drivers, to be fair, kept it somewhat clean-ish. It was pretty scruffy racing at times. Ferrari had some tactical woes. As ever, as seems to be the case with Ferrari the last couple of, well, probably 10 years it feels like. Sainz could have got Ocon, really. Yeah. Basically, they delayed their pit stops to last longer than Verstappen and Alonso, and Leclerc and Sainz dropped down to 6th and 8th. They held out. You know, they tried to hold on that a little bit longer, and it dropped them down from 3rd and 5th to 6th and 8th, which is disastrous. Sainz had pitted earlier on race, early against who was on hard tyres, and to be honest, I think they kept him on the hards. Yeah, I think they would have got Ocon. I think they would have got Esti Besti. But yeah, I think Ferrari and Sainz was not happy about it, and he said what happened. He said what happened happened, and he was right. It was silly by Ferrari. Checo, I think title race is fading. We're at week 6, 7 of the season, and he's fading because he basically pitted for hard tyres on that one, got stuck behind Lance Stroll, twatted into Kevin Magnussen's Haas, broke his front wing. Yeah, it took 5 pit stops. Yeah, it's not great. But yeah, it was a great Grand Prix. 53. It was around lap 51. The rain hit, and it intensified quickly. And there was a certain point of the track, and it came down bloody fast. When it came down, it came quick. But yeah, I think had Alonso not met Aston Martin not made a bit of a hash of the when they came in for wet tyres, I think they would have won. But yeah, that was our best hope. Anyway, shall we go through the race classification? In 20th place with a 9th finish was Lance Stroll, who dumped on lap 53. Kevin Magnussen was classified, but also did not finish on lap 70. Logan Sargent, another pretty crap weekend for him. He got taught a lesson as he ran out of hard and mediums. His race was ruined, so they stuck him on softs. Yeah, that was just him teaching you've got to look after your tyres, because he got a puncture very quickly after boxing. Hulkenberg, who was 17th, was also involved in the wars a fair bit. Perez came 16th. Bad. Yuki Tsunoda, 15th, unfortunately, his brake failed. He would have been about 10th. But yeah, his brakes failed, unfortunately, for Yuki. Albon came 14th. This is the difference between Sargent and Albon this season. There's a massive gap, and obviously Sargent's a rookie. Albon's a great driver. Logan is a rookie, so let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Zhou Guanyu 13th. A good result from Nick de Vries, P12, best of the season. Yeah, it was probably the best he's looked. Still, obviously, a little bit off Yuki in terms of pace by about a second. I'm going to let me work this up. 1 second and yeah, just under. No, he's quicker by 10th a second. Yeah, good on you, Nick. One of his best weekends. Bottas came 11th. A bit of a quiet one for him. Wasn't involved too much. Obviously, thankfully for him, his tyre didn't get stuck on. Piastri 10th. A very good weekend for McLaren. Finished 10th and 9th. And they looked quick in the rain. Really quick. They did really well. Carlos Sainz in 8th. Considering where he could have been, that's disappointing. Pierre Gasly in 7th. The homeboy Charles Leclerc had a fairly quiet race in P6. George Russell in P5. Lewis Hamilton with the fastest lap in P4. Esti Besti P3. Fernando in P2. And, of course, Max Verstappen came P1. So let's see what this does to the Drivers' World Championship. So in 20th place and 19th with 0 points respective is Logan Sargent and Nick de Vries. Albon 1 in 8th. Then here comes Kevin Magnussen, Yuki Tsunoda, Zhou Guanyu on 2 between 17th and 15th. Bottas on 4 in 14th. Piastri, who's picking up results, with 5 in 13th. Hulkenberg with 6 in 12th. Lando with 12 in 11th. Gasly with 14 points in 10th. Esti Besti, who just picked up most amount of points he's picked up in a while, having been criticised last week by his team boss. 21 points in 9th. Great job. Lance, who picked up 27 points, had a pretty crap weekend, to be honest, and is fallen massively behind his teammate. Charles Leclerc on 42 points in 7th. Carlos Sainz 48 in 6th. George Russell in 50th in 4, with 50 points with 4. In 5th, sorry. Lewis Hamilton with 69. Nice. In 4th. Fernando Alonso in 93 in 3rd. Checo Perez with 105 in 2nd. And miles out in the front, Max Verstappen with 144. Let's just give some praise to Lewis Hamilton. He's doing very, very quietly, having a very good season. Not obviously out of front like he was having, but much improved from last season. Ferrari, though, having a crap season. Both of them. They are firmly the 4th best team. Anyway, so that means with 1 point, Williams are 10th. With 2 in 9th is AlphaTauri. 6 in 8th is Alfa Romeo. 8 in 7th is Haas. 17th in 6th is McLaren. 35 in 5th is Alpine. 90 in fourth is Ferrari, 119 in third is the Mercedes, and 120, so 1 point between them, is Aston Martin. And quite literally do that. 249. Red Bull, 6 wins. All races won so far. Now, I'm putting out there will come a point where Red Bull have a mechanical failure with one of their cars. They won't win every race. I hope. It's not impossible, but yeah. There has to, at some point, be a problem with one of their cars. It's a long season, and I hope they don't win every race, because that would be a travesty for the sport. But anyway, in 2 weeks' time, we're off to Spain. Well, actually, as I record this, it's in 2 days. They're literally doing practice right now, and I've got it up on my monitor. But yeah, so yeah, we're off to Barcelona with the new track alignment, where they've got rid of a fucking chicane. Fantastic. We'll see you then. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Fav, and I'll see you all next time. But till then, dearly, see ya.